and welcome to Indian time again. As you all know, the fires are still burning all over the place. It has limited us to a lot of some of the outdoor activities we usually do at this time of the year. We talked a little bit at our last show about the cultural use of fire, and that although a lot of the people in the valley from the Bitterroot on through the Flathead Valley have suffered some losses, some personal losses. We are fortunate there has been, we haven't lost any human life. We've lost things that can be replaced and will grow back. And although we've lost a lot, we look at it as something that I think maybe as a learning tool for the future planning of how we manage our forests. We need to remember that we learn from Mother Nature, from the Creator, and how things are, how the Creator has taken care of itself and the land for thousands of years. And I think over the past, since probably around the 1910, from there on, I think we've suppressed fires and have built the fuel in our forests to a point of where it's like a matchbox. So I hope that although we lost a lot of things and I lost a lot of timber, we might lose some revenue, but I think the bottom line here is not necessarily the revenue that we lost, but the things that we learn from it, the things that we hope to put in our management plan for future generations. Those young people that are yet to come will talk about this fire that we had this year, will understand the losses that we've had, but by the time they get to be adults, a lot of this will be replaced. A lot of the berry picking areas, the medicinal plant areas, all those areas that have been cleaned up by the fire will be back and probably will come back in abundance. So I hope that, I know there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of people that feel different things towards this year, the fire season, and I hope that we take a good look at what really took place here, and that we learn from what took place, and that I hope that people will start to understand that although we lose material things, those are just material things. They can be replaced. I know there's some big losses, but there are some things that we have to also be thankful for. The other thing that we talked about in the past was land formations, and I guess the things that we were afraid of as cultural people is the exposure that will happen to a lot of our sacred sites, our cultural sites, and those things need to be protected and to be monitored. And I think people need to understand that those things are important to our way of life as Salish people. So with this fire business, I think we all learned a little bit of something. We all realized that we don't control the Creator's earth. We don't control things that whenever it makes up its mind to clean itself, to do things, it will. And I think we take for granted that we are in control. And this is another way of the Creator saying He is the one that's in control. So I hope we learned a little bit of some of the things. Some of the topics that we're going to talk about in the future will be some of the effects of other things that to the Salish people. In terms of the railroad, we'll talk about the irrigation project, we'll talk about Kerr Dam, we'll talk about how the tribes are managing their resources today and what they've learned from other things in the past. So there's a lot of topics that we're going to cover, and we don't have a lot of time to do those things, but I'm hoping that this program will help you understand and educate educate you in how we as people should be caring for and looking at our resources. Later on today, my guest today is Lucy Vanderburg, who's the director of the People's Center. And I think that, I hope that we'll learn a little more about the People's Center. What I'm going to start today is I mentioned on one of our earlier programs that we had a place name project going, a history and a place name project. What I'm going to start today is start naming some of the place names that we have here on the reservation. Then we're going to expand into Aboriginal territory. So the place name for today is Sinshpuptlam, which is at the bottom of Evero Hill, which means, Sinshpuptlam means when you go back out into the clearing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from there, and I'm going to name place names all through the reservation. And as my Uncle Pete Beaver had done back in 1975 when the Culture Committee's program first started, he started with one day sitting at the table down at that time we were located in the community center, and in his mind he traveled throughout the reservation and named all of these places. And so that's what I'm going to start today. So with Sinshpuptlam, that means going back out into the clearing, and that location is at the bottom of Evero Hill. Okay, and at this time I think what I'd like to do is introduce to you the director now for the People's Center, Lucy Vandenberg. Lucy has worked in the past for the Culture Committee from 1978 to 1997. For about 19 years she was with the Salish Culture Committee. And her mother, Agnes, ran the summer camps up in Valley Creek, which was actually, I think, worldwide known to people coming from all over. They would come up to Agnes's camp and learn how to do things. She was very open and honest with people, and she was willing to teach people, you know, if they wanted to learn. And Lucy has been the director, just the new director of the People's Center. And I think what we'll do is have Lucy explain a little bit about the People's Center. And as you all know, the People's Center, the plan, I guess the idea of the People's Center started back in probably the early 80s, and there was some actual sites, or some different sites that were selected that were viewed as a possible site for the People's Center. One of those was east of the Job Corps Center, and there was actually a dedication out there, but it never, because of the funding and because of the location, some people felt that it was too far off the main highway to be, I guess, an ideal spot for music. The other place that was also thought about and looked at was a place across the river, across Sloan's Bridge, a little bit, I think, to the south of Sloan's Bridge, was another area that was thought about as a location for the People's Center. Another area was at the junction of 212 and Highway 93, where the old, I guess I don't know what it's called now, but it used to be the Ruby's Cafe, was another area that was an area that was talked about to build the People's Center. But as time went on, things changed, and People's Center is now located just north of the complex here, about a quarter mile or so, on the west side of the highway. And with that, I think I'll introduce and hear from Lucy about what's happening out at People's Center. Okay, so with that, I'll say, Lucy.
Lämnas, Tommy. The People's Center was established in the fall of 1990 through a fund from the Administration for Native Americans, and through matching funds of private and tribal donations. The efforts began as a people's place to learn and share. The existing People's Center, which is located just north of here, was opened in April of 1995. The People's Center's mission is to educate the public, and that includes, when you talk about public, it includes everyone. Educate the public on aspects of traditional lifestyles and histories of the Salish, Pend Oreille, and the Kootenai people, as sanctioned by the tribal elders and the culture committees, the Salish Culture Committee and the Kootenai Culture Committee. The People's Center provides a place for tribal community to learn and share knowledge of our cultures, respecting the time-honored traditions of the Salish, Pend Oreille, and the Kootenai people. The People's Center provides a place of welcome, a point of entry for guests interested in learning about the Native way of life, fostering and enhancing unity and harmony among members of the natural world. The People's Center, it consists of the museum. The museum depicts the cultural lifeways and of all three tribes, and we also have the exhibit gallery. The exhibit gallery is where we hold the classes, cultural classes. Then we have the gift shop. The gift shop is in place for purchasing and selling local beadwork from local artists, not only beadwork, but all aspects of art. And I guess before I go into some of the things that we do there, the classes that we hold there, the People's Center, to me, is a place to merge all of the people. We have the elders, we have the youth, to keep our culture, our lifestyles, I guess, active with the generations to come. We offer language classes. We offer all of the cultural classes that enhance our culture as a Salish tribe, a Pend Oreille, a Kootenai. Yeah.
Okay, I think with that, Lucy, I think we'll go ahead and we'll take a short break and give our sponsors time to air some of their commercials, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll talk about some of the future plans and the things that the People's Center do today and what they hope to do in the future. So with that, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
I really got wasted last night. I think I had a really good time with Tom. I just don't remember.
I've done that one before.
I hope they understand they have our future in their hands. If you choose to be sexually active, be safe, don't risk your life for a good time now. Native American women are fast becoming infected with STD and AIDS.
Welcome back. Remember, the word of the week or the show is Sinspuptlum. Sinspuptlum, which means going back out into the clearing. It's a place name, and that's at the bottom of the hill in Evero. And now I think we'd like to go in and have Lucy talk about some of the things that the People Center have done so far under her direction, and some of the things that she hopes to change, or some of the things that she hopes to accomplish as director of the People Center. So with that, we'll go back and Lucy.
Okay, thank you. The People Center is very busy starting in the spring, all through the tourist season with our Native Adventure program. The Native Adventure program consists of doing tours on the reservation, managing half-day tours, full-day tours, weekend tours. It's a way for our people to, I guess, tell our story to our visitors, our guests, and sometimes our own tribal people. The Native Adventure program originated after the People Center was established where it's at now, the location. We've had tours from one end of the reservation to the other, starting with sometimes in Arlee, sometimes in Evero, we talk about the history of the communities, the tribes, the tour guides who are trained by people at the People Center, and the elders have to be able to answer questions, know the history of the reservation, of all three tribes, the enterprises within the reservation. So it's kind of it's a full day. A full day tour takes about 6 hours, so it's a full day of information about the tribes.
Lucy, my understanding, Lucy, is I think the one of the reasons why the Native Ed Tours was created was to kind of control the tourists, I think, that come through here. And I think at one time there was a concern that the tourists would be, because you come here, a tourist can pick up a recreation permit and then basically go where they want to. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that we wanted to do in the past was to control the areas that the tourists and the people went to in large numbers. And so this kind of kind of created a good, I think, a solution to guiding those people into designated areas where they could go into. And do you have any idea the numbers of people that come through the People Center?
Mm-hmm. The numbers vary, I guess, from year to year. I know this year we've had a very good season. I don't know the numbers right offhand of how many people have came, through the doors or have actually taken our tours, because we also work with the schools. The tourists themselves, it's in the hundreds. I don't know the exact numbers. And it is a way of, I guess, educating the public while they're on the reservation. we make arrangements with the Bison Range, the Catholic Church, the Kerr Dam, the complex itself, so they're not, we're I guess going as a group instead of people just coming and going and being, I guess, just being tourists.
What kind of things are you planning, for futures? Are there any changes that you see?
As far as the Native Ed?
Right.
The Native Ed program probably isn't going to have a lot of changes right now. We are gearing up for the Lewis and Clark bicentennial, and that is a good aspect for Native Adventures, because we're able to tell the Indian side of Lewis and Clark. I know the Salish people came from the Bitterroot, and that is part of the trail, the Lewis and Clark Trail. That's one of the future things that we're working on now, is the Lewis and Clark bicentennial.
I think it's a good topic. I think one of the future topics I think we'll cover soon. So I think maybe the possibility of having you back just for a discussion on the Lewis and Clark and the impact, I guess, it had on the Salish people here. So maybe you might want to be thinking about that, Lucy, and bring you back.
Sure.
For another time.
The People Center has been designated the contact place, contact people for all Lewis and Clark activities. Even though we're not on the trail, we are the contact place. The other thing I'd like to talk about is our education program that we have at the People Center. And the education program is the part of the People Center where we offer classes, cultural classes, and we've had real good luck with our own tribal people who have the expertise in beading, outfit making, basket weaving, language classes, hide tanning, native tool making, drum construction, drumming and singing, native game playing, teepee making. The People Center has been involved in the native games, and I bring that up because in the year 2001, this tribe is going to host the international native games, and the People Center is we've made game pieces, we've practiced the games, we've participated last year and this year in Browning and in Elmo, and it's I think the native games is a way to bring our youth back to the cultural way of life of our Indian people. The native, you call them games, but actually some of the games were preparing the youth for their adult years.
Yeah, some of the stories I remember the elders told was, today it's games that was having a good time and those kind of things. But I remember Pete Beaverhead talking about what you said was preparing themselves for adulthood, and a lot of the young people played, and it was actually war games. It was preparing them for war, for protecting themselves in battle and those kind of things. And some of the things that they talked about was enduring pain, how much pain they can endure, and that was quite a story that he talked about. And today to actually take some of those hawthorn and put them on reeds of grass and then thrown at each other to help you I guess try to endure the pain. I don't know if we can do that today.
Well, you played shinny before. And shinny's kind of painful too. The other thing that we're planning for the near future is in September during Native American Awareness Week, the People Center is the center for cultural activities for all the local schools on the reservation and off the reservation. Last year we had in excess of 2,000 kids come through our doors, and we're in the planning stages now for Native American Awareness Week.
Okay, we're just about out of time, Lucy. Is there anything that you would like to add and to finish up here, Ruth?
I guess I would just like to say that the People Center, to me, is a place where everyone is welcome. Everyone, we have so many opportunities there. If you just want to stop by and sit under the arbor and do your beadwork, that to us it's a learning center. If you want to sit in the education room, watch a video, or even visit with the staff, I encourage that.
Thank you, Lucy. And I think that I think it's gearing towards the intent of what the People Center dream and what it was going to be, and that is as educational arm of the tribes. And I think all the departments in the tribal government should utilize the People Center as an arm for educating not only our own tribal members but non-tribal members and people that are passing through how we operate as a government, how we operate and manage our resources, our air quality, water resources, timber, culture, all of those things. And I know the elders are supporting the People Center in that aspect as a tool to share with the community what we as Indian people want to share. So with that, I think I thank you again for joining us here at Indian Time. Time flies by here, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Remember the word since